In through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. Oh, what fun it is to sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey! Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. You're born and you live your life and you die and that's it. You're done. I said, suppose you're up here preaching and the door opens and a guy walks in there and starts down the aisle and says, I'm Jesus Christ. I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to ask him for his driver's license first thing. I want to know who he is, you know. You gotta have identification. Yeah. You know, he's a joker like I am, you know. I had a corn cob business. This is a true story.
Corn cob business?
And I got the corn cobs from the mill, and I sold them all over town for like kindling, and plus I used them in the toilet, you know. And what I would do, I would sell to people 2 bags of red cobs and a bag of white cobs. So, you know, you use a couple red ones, then you use a white cob, see if you need to use another red one. And then a lot of times they use those same cobs to start a fire in the kitchen. And boy, a lot of those people had crappy breakfast, I'm telling you. I had a buggy, so I took the buggy apart and I made like a little rack on one of them where I could haul bags, and then the other one had like a box, you know, and like loose cobs. And I got 25 cents for the loose cobs, and a nickel a bag for the bag cobs. Then I had to get my bags back again, and you know, when I'd bring you a bag of cobs and take the empty bag back with me, so I had bags. And then I got a couple old boys to work for me, Joe and Truman Steele, and they were peddling my cobs, and I was hanging around the pool room shooting pool, and they're just waiting for them to bring money to me. And then the fellow that owned the mill, he told me, he says, if you don't want to work your job, he said, I'll just give it to them. And I'm living in his house now. See, he owned a flour mill and all that stuff, and I live in his house. Studied on the railroad, you know, I had nothing to do. I read psychology books and all that kind of stuff, and I was trying to load my brain down with how to communicate with people. Finished school, like TV stations and radio stations, they would call into the school and want so many, you know, people. Then I got superintendent at trucking company, excavating company.
Right.
And when a driver was making like $153 a week, union driver, well, I got $300 a week salary. I double it almost. He wanted to pay me $275, and I told him, no, I needed $300 at least. I've got an old check stub, $300 at home when I left Tennessee. $28 a week. And I went to Illinois in December. The first job I got was at a place called U.S. Steel Barrels, where they made 55-gallon drums. And my job was to paint like the center line. Each end would, like the end of the drum, be yellow. Well, I sprayed the other guy over on that side. He pressed a foot pedal and sprayed the center part, you know. And then I sprayed by hand. I sprayed the bottom half of the drum, and then I pressed a foot pedal and it sprayed the end of the drum. And the drums would just keep rolling. The drum was turning all the time. And when you get painted, you press another button or foot pedal and flip that drum out. The next drum would fall in and start turning. Worked that 2 or 3 weeks. Then I came home for Christmas. I went back and Ford assembly plant was hiring people. So I got a job, worked on the assembly line. And they were building a 1951 Ford. And my job, the car would come out and start up over this, like, up in the air.
Right.
And there was a gravel reflector that went between the rear bumper and it screwed to the back of the frame. So that was we put like rubbers on that thing there which alternate two guys. And then one guy would shoot the screws in there. And then the gun slipped on me, and I got a scar from here over to here where I split my hand. So I worked there 9 months and I got laid off. Then I went to heavy construction, running bulldozers and cutting road beds and stuff, you know. And then when I didn't go out and run the dozer, I worked in the shop.
Right.
Like fixing big cranes and working on dozers and stuff like that. And
he had a lot of knowledge.
And I got fired off that job.
That's the one you
got fired off of. I turned that pan over. Boy, I went to work one morning, the sun was shining, I had a short sleeve shirt on, and 3 o'clock, it's spitting snow. I'm sitting up there freezing to death, you know. I pulled up on we take this dirt where we was cutting this road bed for a road project. Take the dirt up on the dirt pile and dump it, you know, off the pan. And back then, the pans run by cables, all cables, they're hydraulic now. But I rolled that pan off the side and they fired me. Then I went to work for the railroad. 8 years on the railroad. Centralized traffic control. And I brought the trains in from 2 or 3 miles out, you know, on one way, and sent them out like a couple miles the other way. Brought them all through the yards, you know, and stuff. And it was just like a toy train deal. Like I had this big board up in front of me and had all the tracks on it and had all these little toggle switches. And I didn't want to line a train up, I just do like this, you know, where I wanted the train to go. And I took him to work, and he's sitting up there on the desk in front of the thing, and I'm talking on the phone or something, and all of a sudden he takes a notion to flip the switches, and the train's coming. So when he flipped the switches, it wasn't a complete lineup, so it threw a red board on the train, you know, automatically. So the train had a big hole in it and stopped.
Oh man!
And I almost got fired over that.